while there it was rough, but lately I've been doing better than the last 4 cold Decembers I recall. And I see my family every month. I found a girl my parents love. She'll come and stay the night, and I think I might have it all. And I thank God every day for the girl he sent my way. But I know the things he gives, he can take away. And I hold you every night. That's a feeling I wanna get used to. But there's no man as terrified as the man who stands to lose you. Oh, I hope I don't lose you. Please stay. I want you, I need you, oh God. Don't take these beautiful things that I've got. Please stay. I want you, I need you, oh God. Don't take these beautiful things that I've got. Please don't take. I found my mind, I'm feeling sane. It's been a while, but I'm finding my place. If everything's good and it's great, why do I sit and wait till it's gone? Oh, I tell you, I know I've got enough. I've got peace and I've got love. But I'm up and I thinking I just might lose it all. Stay. I want you, I need you, oh God. I need these beautiful things that I've got.
All right, what is going on, everybody? God loves you, and we love you here at DadPod. Now, we want to thank everybody for stopping in for today's episode. It's coming from a couple of states away from the great state of Alabama. Roll Tide. We're in Kentucky, United States. Yeah. Brought a little bit of Alabama out here, and I got to say, they don't look like us out here. I don't know if that's just a me thing or what. I walked in Buc-ee's, and I was like, man, well, I feel like we're in a different country right now because I've never been out of the state much. But God loves you and we love you. And if you are on Facebook Live or on YouTube and have not followed us on Spotify, give that QR code a scan and follow us, right? Now, I know it says Sophie Rose on there. I did intend to have Sophie on the podcast tonight, which is still not necessarily counted out that she's not going to end up in it at some point. But she was originally going to do it, and she opted to go swim in the pool and play Uno with friends and whatnot, and that's 100%. I'm okay with that as well. So I'm glad she's having fun. But tonight's episode, I've got a special guest with me along tonight who has already been on one of the episodes with DadPod and was graciously able to get him on. He couldn't escape this one. I brought it with me. I brought it with me on the trip.
The whole setup.
The whole thing. It was set up.
Which is awesome, man. You carry it with you.
Well, I enjoy doing it. It's something I want to make sure I can continue to do. I try to do it without anybody or anything getting in the way. Only because, I mean, I enjoy doing it. Yeah, it's great. It's fun. But it's more or less like, it's what I'm talking about. that I enjoy doing. Let me stop this music real fast. But I enjoy, it's what I'm talking about that I enjoy doing. But tonight's episode is episode 24 on season 2. This is Ark-eology. It was real punny. You're welcome. I came up with that all by myself on that long 6-hour drive up here to Kentucky.
Well, it turned into like 8.5 with all the stops and running 55, 60.
We had to stop. We had to keep stopping. Well, I say that, not too bad. It wasn't as bad as usual.
At least you wasn't driving.
Right. Now that's the other. Well, I gotta say, I'd rather if I'm gonna be in travel or we're gonna be going somewhere like that, I've got to be driving. I gotta have something to do, and that seems to be like the main purpose of a trip is to be the driver. So, and not to be like, oh no, I took you there. It's like, no, I need something to do. I can't just sit there. All right, drives me nuts. But that 6-hour drive led me to kind of come up with the name Ark-eology. And we want to thank a couple of people for bringing the episode forward today. But first and foremost is going to be God, because if he hasn't placed everything in this order and in this path, maybe not this order, but the order too. Everything about it came about the way that God had it planned out. So Juarez Boxing, right? If you're looking to get any training for you, yourself, your kid, young or elderly, it does not matter, right? To give you a reference point, I trained Alaina Huey's son, who is 6 years old, I believe now, but he started when he was like 5.5. So that kind of gives you a reference point of when I can start. I mean, if you're 102 and want to train, come on with it. Holler at your boy, right? My number is on the screen. I'm not going to advertise it out over Spotify, mainly because I'm in 6 different countries. So there is that. Next, we want to thank Brandon Foster with Foster's & Son Custom Woodcrafts. Now, he has made the flag that's in the background on a couple of videos, and I believe the cover art for episode 13 of season 1, I believe. Very beautiful work. He can come up with a lot of good designs. You have an idea, take it to Brandon and see what he can do with it. He can make it come to life, I promise. Next, we want to thank Tyler Etress with Nothing Fancy Lawn Care and Pressure Washing Service. You can reach out to him. He does the free estimates and whatnot, and I don't know if he knows it, but yet again, his slogan is you can't let that name fool you, because Tyler has some really, really good references and whatnot on Facebook. So if you want to check out any of the work that he has done, give him a shout out. Check him out on Facebook. Nothing Fancy Lawn Care and Pressure Washing Service. But tonight's episode 24, Ark-eology. Now, the episode Guess Who, right, is the episode, right? Who we got? Jeremy Munkus, or Alex, or Munkus, whatever you know him by. I've got a couple different names. I think everybody does. But how you feeling after that long drive?
I feel ready for bed about.
Yeah.
Especially for the day tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, you can't go to bed till we do the podcast.
Oh, 100%.
We made sure. I was like, man, I can't wait to get this stuff up there and do it. It's a lot.
You planned it, didn't you?
I did.
You was like, you know what?
I did.
If I can only get him on a few times, then I'm definitely taking my stuff and we're doing a podcast in the room.
I 100% plotted this. You didn't know it, but you weren't getting out of it. I know you may not. You didn't know it, but you weren't gonna be able to get out of it.
No, I'm cool with it.
No, but I mean, I don't try to put anybody on the spot, nevertheless, but it does happen. But I like doing it. But I like what we're up here for. Mainly going, we're going to be going to the Ark tomorrow. Now, it's the Ark Encounter. And this is I've been on a couple of boats with you. Now, this would be a good story we could talk about too. And it ain't got nothing to do with the Ark before we get into it. But you sank a boat, hadn't you? Oh, or at least got in the process of it. Got pretty close.
Not intentional, though.
Well, no. I don't think it's ever intentional that we sink something.
You're right.
Not intentionally, for sure. But I know there was one night, and there was one night I remember I was coming to meet you guys on the boat, and I had to, on my way there, I remember you guys calling me. It was like, hey, taking on water, currently sinking. And so I had to try to find the nearest point of land, and I pulled my phone up. I'm following the dot, and I finally found it.
Shared location. Was like, hey, we got to make this happen quick.
Right, we did. We shared location. And as soon as I had no idea where I was. I didn't know whose house I was going to. None of it. Because I can tell you now, I wouldn't have walked up with such... I love this judge. By all means, he's done me right. And I'm not going to say his name just because I don't know if I can get in trouble or whatever. But phenomenal judge. He has, I mean, you know, judges are judges. They are what they are. But he down to earth, and he helped us this night. But it just so happened to be the judge's house that I had a court date with the week prior. And I was standing there at his door with my shirt off as his wife comes up and answers the door. I'm knocking. His wife comes up and is like, hey, hang on a second. I'm like, yep, nope, I get it. I look like a felon. It's just, hey, it is what it is. I understood. I knew exactly. I was like, hey, if somebody that looked like me at that time and place walked up, knocked on the door, you better go get your husband. I mean, just is what it is. Not like I'm going to steal your wife or nothing either. No, that was just...
Kid definitely can't say you're selling candy that late.
Startling.
You see what I'm saying? It's just a startling situation. Very good term. But it's just a startling situation. So she goes and gets her husband. Her husband turns the corner. It's the judge for the district that I was talking about. And I was like, oh, great. This is great. So he comes up and he's like, hey, everything okay? What's up? And I was like, yep, nope, you did me good in court, man. That's not what I'm here for. But my wife and friends are currently sinking in your backyard.
We was like probably about 500 yards out.
Y'all were definitely not short distance away from the shoreline. Y'all were a good distance.
So did you have to jump out and swim?
Yeah. Oh,
yeah. Alex had to get in the water. I didn't jump in, I don't think. Because once I noticed you guys got close enough to the pier, I was like, it's good enough for me.
But we was just cruising like mid-river. Like we was out in the mid-river.
Oh,
and
yeah.
all of a sudden the boat goes to a complete, like, no more power. I'm like, oh my gosh, what is going on? Well, it was a Malibu, old school, like an 87 Malibu wake boat. So we jump out, or I plopped the cap open, and we're taking in water. I was like, oh my gosh, what's happening? Well, the connection shaft for the prop, the nut come off of it. So it was just, and the shaft shot back. So it was just sucking in water like a $1.50 size hole, just pulling in. And your wife was the one that jumped down there and was like plugging the hole with her hand. And I was like, we're sinking. My immediate instinct was like, grab the tow rope, jump in the water. Yep. And I'm sitting there literally pulling it, like my body weight.
What is it with you having to pull things away from you?
And then at one point,
you had to pull me from the car wreck. That's what it was more or less my reference. I think we all kind of got that. But.
And nobody likes swimming out in the middle of the water, especially like, I don't know,
night?
for me, like a fear, or not necessarily a fear, but when you get thrown off of a daggone inner tube, for instance, and you're like, okay, I'm cool, but what is beneath me? At that moment, I was like, I don't care. This boat is going down.
Yep.
Let's get it to shore.
Yep.
So that's when we was on the phone with you, or I think Allie called you, and I was in the water. Morgan was holding the hole, and then Allie was like, "We're sinking."
I don't know who was on the phone, but I know who was on the boat. And it was you guys that I cared about also, but it was, hey, my wife. Too.
And
You
you played a perfect part in that too, because if you wouldn't have been there at the right time, then the boat would have sank literally.
Yeah.
And it would have sank before we got it on the trailer, so timing was perfect during that.
I just happened to be pretty close to give anybody a reference point. If you're in Pill City or around Pill City, it was pretty close to. It's the home of the Jehovah's Witnesses place is the road that it goes up behind. That's where I had to turn to go find them. But all I did was pull up my phone and looked at this dot out floating in the middle of the river. That blow your eardrums out?
No, I was scratching.
But I saw this dot out floating in the middle of the ocean, or the river. It looked like the ocean on the map when I'm looking at it. It's just a big...
Logan Martin Ocean.
Yeah, that's all. All it said was Logan Martin Lake, and there was a blue dot. And I was like, well, I got to get that dot out of the water. So I finally get to the closest point of land that I could find. And it just so happened to be, like I said, the judge's house. Not going to say which judge, but very great. He's a good judge. Hey, he's put me in jail, and I wasn't mad about it. I'm the one that made the mistake. I can't be in there and be mad like, it's your fault I was smoking drugs and got arrested. Like, who am I to blame him for that? Now, it is, if they're respectful too, you're going to be, but it is given. Now, I can tell you, it doesn't matter how innocent you think you are. If you're walking up in front of a judge, you better just act like he's got you by the kahunas, because he does. You know what I mean? So you might as well just play the part and play it right. Not play it white, play it right. All right? It's two different things. All right. But with that being said, I just like to bring that boat story up because we're going to be getting on a boat.
Yeah.
A pretty big boat. And we were reading about those. So Sophie the other night on, I think it was the episode later. Sophie joins DadPod. It's the episode where I hired her.
Hired her.
Yeah. She works for me now. So
little employee.
Right. And we were talking about how big the boat was and everything too. And God looked after Noah and the ark. That one wasn't going to sink It didn't matter if he snapped. Well, it didn't have a prop on it, but it didn't matter if the prop come out of that boat or not.
Yeah, it was just floating.
God was going to make sure that boat stayed upright. Didn't matter what happened.
He didn't make him build it for just to sink it.
He just needed to float. Real quick, it was funny. I read this article. A guy was debating. It's the Kent Hovind guy that I talk about. He was debating this, an atheist debating him and said, Kent, you're so stupid. Don't you know hanging rocks off the boat? Because they hung what they call drogue stones off the side of the Ark. Now, what this did was it was kind of like wave breaks.
Yeah.
So that way, whenever it got real rough, it didn't beat the boat all to pieces. It hit rocks first before it got to them.
Smooth.
It kept it, see, now that's where it got into where the guy looked dumb. He told Kent, he said, Kent, you big dummy, don't you know if he had those rocks hanging off the side of the boat, it would slow him down? Question, where do you think Noah was trying to go?
Nowhere. He just wanted to stay afloat.
I don't think he had to do anything but float.
That's
I've said that in
right.
several episodes.
They didn't tell him to put a motor on it.
No,
or
he
to
didn't.
make big long paddles to paddle around.
Find a 50 horsepower Johnson. He didn't tell him none of that. He said, look, you're going to put the animal I tell you to on the Ark. You're going to put who I tell you to on the Ark. You're going to close the doors. And you're going to float to safety. Because I got you. And he did. He looked after him. But he built, I got to say, we've worked together. And I have messed up measurements on top of measurements. I've costed you material. I've put you in debt on jobs, I'm sure, for mismeasurements. Just joking, but who knows? I don't know. I didn't add it up, or that didn't count. But
lumber, no. Paint, yes.
yeah, I can lose some paint, whether it's painting the wrong color or dropping a bucket or you name it. I've done it. You dropped the roller down the stairs, though.
I did. Remember when we spilled white paint all over 231?
The brand Taco Bell parking lot too. We thought they needed a white line through it. They didn't have one. What was funny was when we were circling out of that parking lot, and we were like, man, what idiots drove through here leaking paint? And then, instantly we're thinking like, oh, wait a minute. We might be those idiots.
Yeah, and it was all over the back of my truck too. Black truck,
as soon
white
as we
paint.
turned, we turned and looked through the back mirror, and it was just all we did was turn right back around, just keep driving. Like, oh well, too late now. What do you do? What do you do?
Definitely can't get out your squeegees and mops in the middle of 231.
No, well, you're not going to get it out of the pavement like that, anyways. Not that bad.
Had to come behind it with black paint.
All right, you have to just repaint it again. But what I was getting at though was like how big the Ark was. Now I've got it in cubits, but in footage, I'm not really sure. Sophie had it wrote down, but it's like 315 cubits, which came out to be like 415 feet. And
something like that.
I thought, I was telling her the other night, I was like, I think that's 4,000. In my head, I'm not playing out like 4,000. There's 4,000 feet. That's a lot. That's a lot.
4,000 feet. Man, look at the boat.
510? Look on that website.
Right. So I think and like, it's like 400, 500 something feet long, 4 stories tall, and like 75 feet wide. It's a big, and you could technically
510 feet long, 85 feet wide, and 51 feet high.
Yeah.
So that's a massive wooden structure. I think it says it's the largest wooden structure in the world.
Probably, and it practically was a barge because all it needed to do was
basically
float. You
yeah.
know. But God built God had the perfect specs for the perfect barge.
No, it's basically a massive boathouse, like first generation boathouse.
He chose the one he knew could build it.
And he sure did. Well, he chose the one he knew was going to trust in him to build it too. Absolutely.
When they first found it, they tried to say, "Oh no, this isn't it," but then they had to factor in. I think was it Moses that told him to build it?
No, Moses. No. God came.
So
to
it's
Noah.
straight to Noah. Okay.
This was all before, because Moses doesn't come in. This is still Genesis.
Okay. Well, then Noah since he was raised by Egyptians, they had to factor in. Well, they used Egyptian math then. So then when they did the Egyptian,
right. So
then they found out it was the right size.
Right. Yeah. They believed they found the Ark.
Yeah.
And they were measuring it out, and it just so happens that it measured out to be the Egyptian cubit from the Bible times that history claims isn't true. That's why I like to try to make science look stupid, but that's what will make you look like a radical in today's time, and people start calling you a right-wing Baptist Baptist Trump supporter. And it's like, whoa. I mean, while I might have voted for him before I voted for Biden, that's not what it's about. Honestly, I can tell you now, I don't know anything a president does other than decide what I pay for gas. Honestly. Yeah. And I know every time we get a different president, that number changes.
Taxes, all kind of stuff.
All kind of stuff. But we physically don't see what happens other than what takes out of our paycheck.
A lot of people don't like Trump, and I'm not getting off subject because it's like one of those things. But I definitely am going to vote for a president that can at least get up on stage and carry on a conversation and just
and not poop his pants.
Yeah.
But I will try not to spill off on that because that'll be a whole episode, and we'll do that one on another episode.
I may have some haters on that one.
I'll end up losing my faith on that episode. No, I will never lose my faith. Because I can tell you, your faith in God will never fail. But your faith in government, it's going down, buddy. It's going down.
Now the devil will try to trick you into losing that faith, but you gotta. That's what the reason for faith is. You just hold in there. Keep holding in.
Well, and the thing is, what everybody fails to realize is we struggle both sides. It's just one side's got a better outcome.
Exactly.
And you cut out negativity in your life. Why is that so? Why do people think that is so offensive to cut out negativity in your life, things you shouldn't do,
Well, people think you are who you are for a reason, but
if you
self-talk is major. If it's positive self-talk, you're going to succeed. If it's negative self-talk, you're not.
But if you take what baffles me is if you take the Bible away from it, people want you to act a certain way still.
Yeah,
but the way they end up wanting you to act is the way the commandments are telling you to act, really. And
just an honest person.
Really, honest person. You've got to be. But being honest is being with your heart.
Yeah, pure.
100%.
And we're only human. Things are going to come up. We make mistakes every day. It's hard having. The God has taken out of so many things in today's time. I mean, look at what the world we're living in. It is.
And it's going back to a time. It's real close. To a time like when Noah built the ark that we're here to see, when God destroyed it. And I was thinking about this, I know it says it's going to be like the days of Noah, but does it say, is it going to be worse then or just like? Is it going to be equivalent or are we going past it? Now, I'm going to be honest, I don't know about you guys, but fire seems like a worse way to go out than water.
Yeah, and he always said he wouldn't
he said he wasn't going to do water again.
Twice. Same thing twice.
He said he wasn't going to destroy it with water.
Yeah.
And that's what you can't. Was somebody, I know you didn't twist it like that either, but that rainbow's a promise he's not going to do it with water again. That was not a promise he wasn't going to destroy it twice.
No, yeah.
And
twice the same way is what I was meaning.
Right. Yep. And it's going to, it's crazy when you sit back and think, like, if we're going to go back to those times, where are we at? Because, I mean, we didn't have beasts and whatnot, like giants roaming the earth. I mean, we've got remnants of it. But not like they talk about in the Bible. In the Bible, it was like that was prevalent. I mean, that was all that was roaming the earth was beasts and evil, and that's why God had to rid it. But what is the world full of?
Beasts and evil.
Evil, man, and mankind trying to be beast. A lot of, all the weightlifters, this and that. And I'm just gonna go and say this. Like if you're in the gym, in your it's not about male, female, but if the dude's in a spaghetti strap top, shirt, shredded, tattoos, every one of them's a Bible verse, and he's in there for God. All I'm saying is, like, for one, like the Bible verse being a tattoo is already like a controversial in itself, right? I don't even have. I stopped. I've got outlines of tattoos because I'm not going to finish them. All right, tattooing a Bible verse on yourself while. That's great and wonderful, but that's not necessarily honorable, I think.
Yeah.
Is the best way to look at it. But, you're in there for vanity. Why are you really in there working out trying to get the biggest bicep that you can? What is that doing you any good for? Other than for somebody to see.
Yeah.
How much are you trying to curl during the day, buddy?
Idolizing something other than God.
Right. False idols, right. And
it's okay to work out, and we're not saying that, but just to be fit, like...
There becomes a different...
To be a healthy...
There comes a point where it's for physique.
Yeah.
And where it's for health,
Exactly.
When it's for vanity, that's wrong. Like for health, like physical therapy. That is something. But like, the weightlifting to look good, get shredded, that kind of thing, you're a single guy looking for somebody. Once again, not certain how well that levels out. with being okay with God, but that would make a little bit more sense than the married guy being in there like that with the spaghetti strap muscle shirt on kind of thing, blah, blah, blah. But, you know, what gets me is, like, you'll go in there dressed like that and get mad at your wife for looking at a guy dressed like that, but you're dressed the same way. Or vice versa. You know, you don't want your husband to look at a girl wearing leggings like that, but you'll sit there and wear leggings exactly the same, or shorts just as short. Well, my thing is, it's not even about me not looking at you. It's like, you're susceptible now for men to look at you, and you're my wife. I don't want them to look at you. That's why Muslims and whatnot wear their hammocks. Is that what they call it, or whatever? Those, you know, the full cover. That's why they do that. It's sanctification.
That is a little overboard too, but
with that being overboard,
because you know,
I wish more people. I wish more people. It is hot, but I wish more people would cover themselves a little better or closer to the way they do than the way we walk around. It makes me sick when I see kids walking with their mom wearing shorts just as short as the mom's wearing. And once again, I'm not justifying anybody getting kidnapped, but when people get kidnapped, they look like they were on the menu, kind of thing. I hate to say it, but I mean, it's just, that's the unfortunate part of society. Now, let me give you here's
that's
a
the evil
conspiracy
mindsets
for
of
you.
men too. At the same time,
Right now, what the biggest? Now, here, let me throw this out there. What's the biggest industry in America right now? Is what industry? The porn industry, the child sex trafficking industry. What clothing?
On OF and make as much money doing the
Now,
devil's work.
and now, do they not try to okay women, like mothers, wearing leggings and short shorts, and then okaying their daughters to do it too? All you're doing is leading them into being the same way. Like, you're taking their modesty from them. They're absorbing what they're around, and you're taking their modesty from them at a very young age and showing them that it's let it hang out. That's like this Hawk Tuohy stuff going around.
yeah.
I'm telling you right now, like, y'all, you can think it's funny all you want, because, like, even I partly had the idea, like, I know why y'all think it's funny. I do. I get it. But that is 100%.
Now, but I will say, nobody will ever be able to probably hawk and actually spit something out of their mouth without somebody being like, "Oh, it's a meme."
Right.
You know?
100%. But what gets me is the fact that, like, it's just all the things that it revolves around. For one, the only people.
Well, it all comes down to a mindset and a perception on things.
And do you know how many dads I saw that shared that meme?
You know what I think?
That were girl dads also? That made me sick to think that they watched that and was like, "Oh, yeah, that's right, blah, blah, blah." You know, you got a girl and might be, if you're not careful, you may allow your daughter to roll into being that meme again. You know what I'm saying? And we don't know who that girl is. She's probably not anywhere near that way. She's probably just funny. Who knows? She's not just goofy. But that's why you don't say and act certain kind of ways, because now half of America thinks you're a hoe.
No, it blew
so
up.
hard
Yeah.
to keep them from all of the evil that's in this world.
Right.
It's like an everyday battle.
It is.
Of trying to explain things and make them understand things, and what they see at school and around.
It's the monkey see,
places,
monkey do.
It's just so crazy.
We got it twisted with parenting when it went from, do as I say, not as I do. It's always been monkey see, monkey do. Not, you can tell your kid whatever you want. It's going to go in one ear, out the other.
Yeah.
100%. But when they watch you, my dad would be smoking a cigarette, telling me not to smoke cigarettes. At the same time, like, that doesn't,
That's how we were raised.
you can't tell me not to if you're sitting there. I mean, you can, but it doesn't, it ain't going to work.
That was the thing back then.
100%.
And see, we
But-
work every day to try and not.
It is hard
Well,
because
you have to.
What you see is what
But
we want to model.
What we
Yeah.
have to, what we have to realize though,
it's
is
hard when, like, for a parent, especially girl dads out here, trying to tell our girls how to be and do this and do that, and then they get on their phone and be like, "Well, this one person's telling me," even though they were parents and they should listen.
Yeah.
But they see all this other stuff and
Or
they're
the
like,
fact
"Well,
Well, I
that
tell-
they're watching these little kids put on their mother's makeup and they feel like they need it, and there's actually children ruining their skin from
Yeah.
using chemicals on their faces.
There is.
right. Well, and I've already started telling.
It's a whole thing.
Joey Campbell called you Zach Wilson.
Zach Wilson."
It's the quarterback for the Joey. Just post the picture.
Yeah, we're
What
gonna
up?
see.
What's up, Joey? God loves you, brother. We love you. But Zach Wilson, he's the quarterback for the Chicago Browns, right? I think, or something like that. But you do absolutely look just like him. 100%. It's not a bad thing.
Was
but
it
you
the
look
new
just
hair
like
or
him.
the beard or what?
No, well, I think it's actually going to be I think it's actually your past hairdo. But we will pull it up. This is Joey Campbell's comment right here at the bottom. Oh,
Let's
Zach
see.
Wilson on the podcast. But God will. The thing is, we know we're always going to struggle. It's always continual. It's never going to end.
If I can find
But yeah, if you can find it, man,
You know
post
what?
it. Let's
Now I
find
got to
it.
look it up.
We'll look it up. He's going to look it up and see because he's going to be. Hey, just hang around. You might get in trouble for calling him Zach Wilson. He might find that offensive.
For the Broncos?
Broncos. That's it. Not the Bears. The Broncos.
This kid?
Yep, that's the one. That's the
I
one.
guess I could see it a little
Yeah,
bit.
but he's got a better one. I think he tagged you in one time though, and it looks just like I was like,
Did he?
that's him all day. Him all day. Yep, I can see it. He said he
Okay,
just
see
got
it.
traded from the Jets. Well,
I wish I just got traded from the Jets. I mean, I'll
This
take
is
it.
true. Yeah, that's solid. That's solid. But getting back to the Ark, the continual struggle, always having to have faith, praying He's going to be there for you. You know He will, even though you doubt. Could you imagine how the relief that Noah and his family had when it finally did start to rain after all those years that everybody told them they were crazy for thinking that it was going to happen?
I think even his family was doubting him at some
Yeah,
point.
absolutely. And I just think I love it. Could you imagine just that second it started to rain and Noah's heart just fluttered?
Yeah.
I guarantee you he was like,
man.
started shaking like, here we go, let's do this thing. Because he knew right then and there everything they said was going to come true, that God meant what He said, and He's fixing to wipe everything out from under Noah's feet, and it's time to get on that boat, brother. I love it. But that's also for you to do today. You got to get on that boat today. That boat's
Exactly.
sitting out, and I can tell you now, it's already raining. It's been raining ever since that flood stopped. Get ready. The Ark is fixing to leave again, but this time it's fixing to float us away from the fire that's coming down to tear up the rest of the world. And you don't want to be here. You don't want to wait down to the last moment for that. The last chance salvation, I believe it's true, but half of you suck at gambling already, so why would you gamble down to the last minute of your life?
Exactly.
And when it happens, I'll believe. You may not have that split second to believe.
That's one of those things. It's a little controversy, but everybody in my past lifetime that you see that passes away, you always see that preacher coming in. Oh well, let's save him. And I've known some pretty bad people that have done some bad things, and that's not me to judge by any means. But I've never heard once anybody say, "Oh darn, we missed this one. He's going down." But,
Unfortunately, it's going to be really hard for you to, as a pastor, to go in a funeral and say he probably went to hell without getting jumped by the whole family.
Yeah, exactly.
But in your heart.
But He will be the ultimate judge when it comes that time. That time.
And in your heart if your family member did or didn't. And just like anybody else, in your heart if you're going to go. Now, I was thinking about this the other day. What if somebody is on their way to getting saved but hasn't gotten saved yet, or something? 100% I believe God saves those too.
Absolutely.
100% I believe that.
All He wants is you to try.
He wants you to believe. And He wants you to...
It says faith, you can have the little, what is it?
It's a mustard seed of faith to move
yeah.
mountains, man. And it's done a lot. A mustard seed of faith has done a lot for me.
And that's small.
It is. A mustard seed is very, very small.
You get up to a watermelon, and you're moving mountains. Really moving mountains.
Yeah. But what gets me, that's why I kind of enjoy it, though, because it's a clear path you get to choose. You either get to suck every day and burn, or go through the same suck, but have a way better outcome. And the thing is like, even if it's just bad moments that you have, and if you'll really just give it to God, you can go about the rest of your day after that.
Yeah.
And who knows what it is? Everybody struggles in different ways, and will continue. That's the other thing. You're not going to stop. It's not something you're ever going to stop.
Nope.
When you're sitting there 3 or 4 days in, you're like, man, ain't nothing happened. Keep waiting. It's coming. Go to sleep. It's coming.
Not in the world we live in. We're just not going to get away from sin.
No, and that's why, also too, it's not like I'm not against being a tree hugger or nothing like that. But this planet's not meant to be saved. I can tell you now, and here's what I mean by that. God has already put a time limit on it. It's already set and destined to go at a certain time. So it doesn't matter what we do to it. It's not going to affect how long we're going to live here. It's not going to keep us here any longer. We're only going to go as long as God has deemed it to go.
Well, I think He did make it to be able to live on a little better than we treat it now.
Yes.
Now,
it's all up to us.
Now,
on
with
how
that being said, whose fault is it though, Dick?
It's up to us
It's
ultimately
us.
to help
preserve.
And preserve the
To
environment,
preserve.
to make it a like
Preserve and save are two different words. And where the tree huggers take it is they believe that, it's like we can save it and fix the hole in the ozone. For one, I want to know.
It's too far gone at this point.
It is. Well,
but we could have changed our ways and treated it.
Here's the way I see it, though. It is already. What's up, Marty? Love you,
How's
brother.
it going, man?
But here's the thing, Allie, and for anybody else, it's like a 100%. That's the purpose. Is we're here to. God gave us this to. He gave us the covenant, like with Adam, when Adam named everything.
Away from God, like God's being taken out of everything.
Right, but that's why. But what we've got to see, though, it's not the world we're meant to save. It's the souls in the world we're meant to save.
Exactly.
And science has made tree huggers believe that we can save it. You can't save the world. The world is doomed. We know this. The world is gone.
And not bashing tree huggers by any means, but
how we treat it and what's going on, it's just unchangeable.
for every one tree that somebody hugs and don't let tear down, well, there's somewhere else in the world there's 1,000 trees being cut down.
I'm 100% with tree huggers if that's what that means. They're trying to save what life we do.
Preserving.
Yeah,
preserving.
there's nothing wrong with preserving it.
But to say save the world, we're all killing it. No,
but look at all of it.
It's like what
to get us to actually change now and get to people to change in the way that they alter, the environment and what we're doing and polluting it and poisoning it, and that's not all of our faults because it's being done to us as well.
we drove here we came up here on a charter bus, so immediately off the bat we are a part of that.
Yeah.
But the same government the
same
same people that say we need to stop that drove there in cars.
Where it's at.
But that's why I'm trying. The sooner we can realize that part of the world.
What are we gonna do? Go back to horses?
The whole point of what you're supposed to realize is that if you don't look at that and understand that it's meant to go, it's going to suffice for you long enough anyways. God did not will this world to run out of materials for. You know what I mean? Now, do we suffer through like plagues and whatnot? Times where people don't have food and this kind of. Absolutely. But what I mean is he gave enough world to last for as long as it's made to last. And we can't do anything to change how long it's going to last or how quick it's going to go. We can't. Now, even if the nuke, like whatever nuclear war we come into, ends it. Even then, if that button is what ended the world, it was in God's will that the button got pushed, is what I'm getting at. There's nothing we can do to save the world. There's everything we can do to save the souls in it, though.
Exactly. And make sure they're going to the right place.
Right. If we save the souls, then we can enjoy the earth while we're here. That's what God gave his covenant to Adam and Eve. Really, it was to Adam. But for both, to understand my covenant with you is to name everything I've given you and to take care of it and use it for you, yourself, your family. That's what I've given it to you for. And then to do my works. But we don't do that anymore. We take advantage of it. And yes, we have destroyed the world. But the Bible has shown us that, we have done that, but it's also showing us that we can't stop it.
Maybe if we acted more like Jesus, everything would be different.
We could try the best we can, but it's not willed and it's not God's plan for us to ever be like Jesus.
The whole world would shift.
Not until after.
Well,
we
it's
all
just
want Jesus to live through us.
Right.
And to
But
serve that
we
example
will
every
never-
day.
We will never be.
Because Jesus was born just like we
But
were.
it's not going to save the world from getting struck by a meteor. It's going to get you out of it.
Yeah.
The whole point, it's your spiritual
Fix
salvation.
your eye on him and not the storm.
Right. So your eye on him is not of the world, right?
Exactly. And
So-
not on all
so the
problems
salvation-
that the world is coming from.
Right. So the salvation is of the soul, not of the world. The world is doomed. So realize that it's meant for us to eat, use, and nourish, and to quit worrying about. We're gonna have to cut stuff down to build stuff. You know what I mean? It's crazy to think that God made a world that's gonna run out of trees when we need them to build.
Overpopulated in
Right.
every aspect.
Well, trees take
Now,
forever to
let
grow.
me ask you this. Do you think they do? But now let me ask you this though. Do you think God willed it for the world to become overpopulated, or that he thought he...
No.
Right. He knows what's going to happen. There is nothing happening right now like they consider it being this or consider it being that. There's nothing you can do to control it because God said it's going to happen. And that's the way I see it. Now, what we can do with it is the outcome. We can't do anything about what's happening right now, per se, but we can do something about, like, we know we're not, like, what's our lifespan on Earth right now? How long is our lifespan?
Like
60
70
years, 70 years? 100?
No, I said under.
Oh, under.
That's like
Well
72,
under.
75.
Well
I think,
under.
yeah, I
60 to
think
70.
female women, I think are like 70 or 80, where male is like 60 to 65, something like
And
that.
it's been decreased because of the lifestyles being lived.
100%. I'm not, not denying a bit, but what I'm getting at is that it's been a perpetual failure over and over and over time, and it's continual. Now here's a verse too. Do you remember this one? Mankind must decrease so that he can increase. We're worthless in what we try to do in our own works, unless we decline in what we're doing, taking our name off of it and putting God's on it.
Exactly.
Right? But we don't, and we have decreased ourselves
Exactly.
by our own hands, by our own works.
Yes.
Yep.
But-
Same thing, we're doing to the environment. Same thing.
We are falling under our own
God has
hands.
been taken out.
But that's why it's a free will salvation too. You're supposed to get up off your lazy butt and go get it. It's not willed for somebody else to get it for you. And if you're in a wheelchair, wheel your way to church. Call somebody to come get you. I'll come wheel you, kind of thing. Okay? That's where we get it wrong. And we have, we're sitting 41 minutes in and haven't went much on the Ark.
No.
But I love it. But that's the whole point, though, is to get knowledgeable sense out of it, though, too. But all we've talked about, though, is the Ark was at a time when the world was on its way out.
Exactly.
And today's time, I know he's not destroying it with water, but I feel like we're living in Noah's time right now, and I should be seeing a boat getting built somewhere.
Well, the leader of
you know what I mean?
The leader of our country sure is steering it away from where it's supposed to be.
Yeah. Whatever's leading it. Whatever's leading it. I'm not sure if anybody is, but I know I'm thankful that Noah led the Ark, and I'm thankful that God led Noah to the Ark and willed it in a man to build. Oh, and this is where I was wanting to talk to you about losing material at work, man. Imagine messing up a measurement back then with Noah after you had to cut down that whole 20-foot tree to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Imagine that. Imagine looking down at Shem, his son, and being like, I said 23 and a quarter. You know what I mean? It's like, this is gonna.
Where is your easy read?
This is gonna take us a week and a half to read through this one cut, and that's just for comical purposes too. I was also thinking about it earlier. I 100% I believe that when God listening to some of us read the Bible and stumble on some of the words or some of the names of the apostles and whatnot, I believe he might giggle a little bit when he hears us try to pronounce them. Because I didn't realize I've been pronouncing one wrong for I don't know how many episodes. Titus. 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 But it's Titus, apparently.
Titus.
But I'm reading it like tits on a bull. Titus. Like Titus.
That's what you said?
That's 100% what I said. 100%. It's Titus. I know. But like everybody else, they were like, what are you reading? I was like, well, when you read T-I-T, do you read tight or tit? Am I being honest? I'm being honest, ain't I? Titus. But I thought Titus. I thought so. Right? And then I said something. There was a group. Apparently there's a group
Still
of
talk about the correct person, though.
Right.
That's all that matters.
That's where I'm saying 100%. I don't think God will strike you down for mispronouncing the word. I believe he might kind of close. You know what I mean? He might be like, pretty close. And then, like, there's a group, I called them the Raphaelians. Like, they were a part of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or something. I believe that's just all parts of it, though. But you can find humor, grace, joy, and wrath all in the works of God. And we see that all through the Old Testament. He's showing his destruction. And with the New Testament, he shows us his salvation with belief in the bloodshed of Jesus Christ. But I believe it all. I believe it dates all the way back to the Ark and even into the creation. But the Ark has been one of the more interesting things that I've gotten into lately, mainly because it's the only thing that we have that they have found evidence of post-flood.
Yeah.
So it would be like the first thing that we found before we had everything that we have today. That's what I think is kind of cool, is the world wants evidence, and God even gave you all the evidence.
Yeah.
We've got evidence in every covenant we've ever had. The rainbow. Everything that we look at. Did you know that how many covenants there are in the Bible? There's so many, but one of them God gave Adam and Eve was everything that you see. This is the first covenant. The second covenant was, well, it may not be the actual second one, but was Noah with the rainbow, that I'm not going to flood the earth. Third was with Abraham and the circumcision. Those first three, we can still see all three of those, and they were in the first book.
Yeah.
The same Bible all tells us, or, the same Bible that the world tries to discredit, takes out. Where did circumcision come from? Who decided to start doing that? I've never heard of a doctor claim that. But I know where I know what Bible claims it.
Yeah.
And I believe
That's
it's
honestly
true.
new to me. I didn't know that was in there.
Yeah. A covenant that was made between Abraham was to circumcise you, all the men of your household, and those that are born after. That if you're a believer in me and a descendant of Abraham, to be circumcised. So that's where circumcision came about. All those years ago, that's why we still do it today. But that's not why the world claims it. They claim it for cleanliness. Now, did you know that's also why God claimed they did it then? Even the world claims it for all the same reason God did. But the world claims it no, this is just, we're the world and this is the way the world said it was because we're the world and the world is actually garbage. It's dumb. Sorry, hate to tell you. God has made beautiful things. Everything about the world is beautiful. But mankind has made it ugly. We have destroyed it. You are 100% right about that. We have destroyed the world. But God has made a way out of it. And once again, like I said, I feel like I should be able to look out the window and somebody's got an ark being built right now. But it's not going to be done by waters. So there's nothing we can do to build to get us out of this.
It's people like you and the other people that's trying to spread the word that is technically building the ark. Nobody's taking it in their own hands to build something like that because they don't know what's going to happen. They have to see something to believe it. And God, the Bible's been taken out of so much stuff, so there's nothing for anybody to really grab and read. I was talking to a lady the other day on my job. She went around, her job was to go around the hotels and put Bibles in them. And
nice. Yeah.
So she said that you wouldn't believe the stories and testimonies that people get that when they have a Bible in there that they go into there to take their life. Like they'll check in and say that they seen that Bible in the nightstand and stop. And those same people sending testimonies. So she had a hotel that was trying to take all the Bibles out. They wanted to pick them up. So they sent into like the informant hire and was like, hey, I just want to let you know, here's proof of all the testimonies that you see that these Bibles are saving people's lives, and I promise you it's a much, much bigger and more expensive deal to clean that room after something like that than for us to keep our free Bibles in there.
Yeah.
So that's not charging them nothing. That's just a placement.
It's free. But, what's crazy, we were talking about it on the bus earlier, but how, like the LGBTQ and all this kind of stuff will slap you in the face for saying something, maybe offensive, but want us arrested.
We're not trying to be offensive.
No,
it's just
we're
facts.
not. But what we're getting at, though, is if I try to tell you that God loves you or something, you'll want me arrested. And it's like, whoa. But don't the same people promote belief in whatever you want to believe in?
Exactly.
But if you believe in anything you want, unless it's God, that's garbage. That's where I have lost my faith in humanity, but I will not lose my faith in God. But I'm ready to see this boat tomorrow.
Oh, absolutely, dude. It's going to be amazing.
Your mom has done a really good job at putting this trip together, too.
She's very organized.
Very organized. So organized so that she's got us getting up way too early.
Well, Allie said this earlier. She told everybody at the church to be there earlier. She's found out a way to finally get people there on time because she's like,
early
and it's like a slight little fib, but it's like, hey, we need to be here.
I'm telling DJ.
What it is a secret to functionality.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, hey, let's be here at 6:45. Let's shoot for 6:45, and then we're really not secretly leaving till 7:30. But hey, guess what? Everybody's there, ready to leave.
So that's
So it was a proud moment for her this morning. We could actually leave before she was scheduled to leave.
And she was patting herself on the back.
Yes,
too,
she
like,
was.
She did. She has done great. But she's got us getting up pretty early for the Ark in the morning. But I know I'm ready to see.
Well, it'll take us 3 to 4 hours to go through it.
it.
I'm ready to see it.
So we'll kind of roll out with that. I'm ready to see how big it is. But I'm wanting to see too. How many animals we think were on the Ark, and who thinks they have the correct number? Nobody's got the correct number. I don't believe it's possible to have the correct number. I don't think so. And here's why I think so. For one, we always find new fossils.
Yep.
That's how I know we're never going to find the right number. But the point is like, that's why it's made for you to just believe in. You've got, because you can still see it. You can see it and believe it all the way up to the number 10,000 if you want to, in the numbers that he's put on the ark. Because if there's that many, I'm telling you, they were on there. But if it was meant to, like, if the answer was sitting right here, like visually, like the times that God showed his presence in the Bible, it scared people. Yeah. It scared them. So
look how many people he fed with a little bit of bread and fish.
But we think we need to see him to believe. I can tell you now, the men in the Bible I've been reading about, it scared them.
Oh yeah.
And they believed him, but almost didn't want to see him again. It was like it scared them that bad, But they trusted and believed in him though too. That's why they say, you put the fear of God in somebody, you won't fear anything else. Because if I'm scared of you, then that means I'm blaspheming God, because he tells me not to be scared, not necessarily of you for like per se a boxing match.
Oh yeah.
But if something happens, any kind of situation you're coming about, and you have God with you and you pray to have God walk with you by your side, and you have all the way up until that point. And if you're a lost soul, but that's something that brought you down to your knees, I believe God will save you. That's something that he uses. You're going to be able to face anything. It doesn't matter. But
he rebuilt
from the ground up. But I'm ready to go in there and just sit back and kind of think about, like, man, how many different animal might have been in this thing? Because I like animal. I think animal are
maybe
really,
this
really
weekend, because I'll still be in Alabama, we can maybe do an update on what we've seen.
Well, I mean, because we're leaving tomorrow night and you're traveling back 6 long more. Why are you two breathing so hard? 6 long hours. You can only hear me
breathing because I'm on this mic.
I know. 6 long hours. We'll be back like 4 o'clock Saturday morning. And yeah, Saturday night, if you guys want to, we'll get together and we'll go over a little bit of what we talked about. And if I'm not asleep on the ride on the way back, I'll try to gather some notes and stuff that I saw in there and all that good jazz. And, we'll go over some of it and see what we come up with. But we're going to get ready we're going to wrap the episode up so we can get these kids to bed and get everybody ready to get up at the butt crack of dawn so we can go see Noah's Ark. But God loves you and we love you. I pray everybody has a great weekend. All right. We want to thank all of our sponsors for making this come about. But first, we want to thank God first and foremost, because without God, we would not have been able to bring episode 24, Ark-eology, to life. We want to thank Juarez Boxing, Brandon L. Foster with Foster's and Son Custom Woodcrafts, and Tyler Etress with Nothing Fancy Lawn Care, along with Alaina Huey, who is going to be doing the DadPod merchandise whenever we get the logo in. So God loves you and we love you. I love you, brother. Appreciate you for jumping on with me again tonight. Appreciate it. So it's going to be good. Can't wait to see what we get out of it tomorrow. It's going to be good.
Absolutely.
It's going to be a good trip. Well, God bless everybody. Hope everybody has a good weekend. Don't do anything dumb. Go to church Sunday.
God bless.